Summer is a-coming in, and winter's gone away. Oh, Alanto.
Tune in to International Pagan Radio. You can hear your favorite artists such as Dave the Bard, Tuatha Dea, Spiral Rhythm, S.J. Tucker, Murphy's Midnight Rounders, and many, many more. Join us for exciting shows like Ask a Witch and Storytime with Rook as well. www.internationalpaganradio.com on the net or on TuneIn Radio on your mobile devices. Join us on Facebook and Twitter too. International Pagan Radio, all pagan, all the time.
Welcome back to An Emerging Forest on the Spiritual Unity Radio Network. We hope everyone was able to stretch their legs and get a drink. And now, back to Alan.
Okay, I think everybody's back on. If everybody could watch their background noise a little bit, things would be quieter. So go ahead, Dave.
Well, I understand we've added Marcie Schwartz.
Yes, that's correct.
Marcie, welcome.
And I come from, I guess, a different perspective because I'm very guided and spiritual. And to me, I understand Touch Mother Earth and Mount Eden, because Mount Eden is a very sacred land. But I also understand the Hilltop Farm version, in which a lot of, I don't know what's feeding back, a lot of things that happened there were amazing. It was just magical experience that had nothing to do with the land, but more with the group of people that were coming together.
Okay. So is that a sign that our community is growing and tightening and strengthening? I mean, it was our first time at the land, and we figured out a very simple layout. But I agree with you that it was the people that made it happen.
I'll agree with that too, Dave. The people do make it beautiful, because when I went the first time and knew nobody, I agree with the previous caller that I want to keep in touch with these people and know these people and be a part of the community.
And what I noticed, we had the birthday girl who was very emotional, and I went to hug her, to say, you're good, you're, and then everyone hugged. I mean, that never happened.
That was
I
beautiful.
A lot of people,
that was absolutely beautiful.
But when everyone it was like the whole community came to support her. And I thought, wow, that doesn't happen a lot. One or two people will intercede with somebody like that, but not the whole people that were present were just like, yes, we support you and everything's good. And I thought that was beautiful.
It moved me. It was very powerful.
Well, Laurel has been a staple at Permajam, and when she found out that her birthday was the same weekend as Touch Mother Earth, and she saw how many people were coming down from Permajam, logically it made sense to come down. I don't think I've ever been in an event where we sang Happy Birthday to the same person 3 times over the course of a weekend. And yeah, she was emotional. I wasn't there that first time when you guys did the group hug, and I understand that was pretty intense.
It was intense. It was amazing.
Yeah, it really was.
So it was.
Yeah,
You could
really
just
was.
feel the love from everyone, and and her being validated by everyone.
Yes.
And I thought, wow. I mean, this doesn't happen in quote real life. and so many magical things happened. Just, a lot of things were explained to me. I connected with a native man there because I'm very native oriented myself, even spiritually. I am a medicine woman, and we had a discussion, which explained my whole life to me in a nutshell, based on what kind of medicine I am. And
was that Pete, the Navajo elder, who was selling the soaps?
He had the feathers. I don't remember if he had soaps. I remember the feathers all over the place.
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about. I would have to look up on my list. That was somebody who signed up that day, Friday and decided to come. He felt he was called.
He was called, and he was called to talk to me. And I was called to Maureen and her friend came and asked me to read for them. And I hadn't I'm a vendor, but I hadn't set up because I hadn't felt like it was time yet. And then I had to figure out where would I set up. And I set up right near him because I felt the energy. And it was like we were meant to meet, to exchange information, to pass knowledge to each other. And, because I know Irina is, says you can make money out of your profession. I know that's not my path. I mean, not that I don't want to make money, but my path, and he explained it in my medicine, I'm ego medicine, is that people have to come to me and ask me. I can't approach people. And I had noticed, even if I tried, I tried on Facebook advertising, that was a lot. That never works for me because that's not how people come to me. And it's all about who I am as a person and what I do and how I do it. And so I think
Marcie, you actually started out as a volunteer, and then you did decide, to actually put yourself out as a healing vendor. And I know it's hard to advertise when you're a healer because shamans and healers and medicine women are quote-unquote not supposed to make money, and they're supposed to heal and get a donation or they feed them or whatever. But I've seen you grow. You have started creating your own once-a-month event, and I know you needed to find that spot at Hope Hill Farm since it was totally new to you, but I saw when you found that spot, you seemed very comfortable. That's beautiful. And I also want to thank you for writing me personally and saying you would like to step up and be part of planning for next year.
Mm-hmm.
And Kellie, I'm going to ask you the same. You want to be part of planning next year?
Yes, definitely. I'm in.
I do want to give some thanks while I have the moment. First of all, I want to give thanks to my boss, Ray Keach at Arrieta. He came to our June event with his wife and their son. He fell in love with all we were doing, and he said, we have to have a banner. So that banner that's on the cover of our invite and will eventually show up on the YouTube page that was something that he and I co-created because he wanted to show appreciation of my connecting with community. And because I teach English as a second language to Hispanic adults, last year we had, the first year we had one person. The second year we had another student. This year we had both my boss and his family in June. Then I had two different students, including extended family, show up. And one of the goals of Touch Mother Earth Community is to incorporate beyond who we are as pure whatever you want to call it. I teach adults from 13 different countries, and to be able to have somebody from Paraguay and somebody from Colombia, and they come to our event, and they're absolutely loving what's going on. From Peru, we're reaching out because community is whatever we make community. And if we bridge the gap of language, we bridge the gap of food, cultural ideas, now we're into a global thought where we can help heal on an even deeper level.
Yeah.
And I so appreciate that happened at this retreat and at the festival. Between the two this year, my heart is singing. I really felt a big difference in my school supporting it. We talked about it. Some people simply can't break away. They work 6-7 days a week. But I know that when we came back and talked about it, they saw the videos, they were curious. It's the next level is how to bring in more of the Hispanic community. Just things that I do year round. Touch Mother Earth is really a vision. It's not necessarily a location. So while Mount Eden is where I started it, the vision can go to different places, and it can be incorporated, for example, at my school. Maybe I'll have a Touch Mother Earth weekend, or not weekend, but like a Friday night. Let's play verbal games at my school. And we could ask questions. What is Touch Mother Earth? What does that mean? Because they listen to me. My students absolutely. I had a student who brought me a glass bottle to store my water in because she didn't want me to use plastic because she knew how much I care about the earth. I adore that. I absolutely adore that. That means that we're cutting across boundaries. We're making the next, like, it's so hard to explain. It's a vibe. It is a healing vibe. My students, I remember one time saying, well, I'll take that home. What do you mean? Well, I don't want to see plastic go in the garbage can. So that's where that idea came, buy me a glass bottle. It's so funny. Now,
what's really beautiful, Dave?
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 Has Chris, have you talked to Chris yet tonight?
No. You couldn't.
How's it going, Dave? I'm still here. Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I was like, wait a minute. Somebody's left out.
All right. So talk to me. Talk to the group. You pretty much know who we are all or whatever. We kind of grew together over the weekend.
For sure. It was awesome meeting everybody at Permajam and then coming back and seeing more of the same and different community at Touch Mother Earth. It was awesome seeing all the different vendors and the different services, whether it was, vegan nutrition or different wellness services, different energy healing. Hearing about the way people are trying to integrate greener lifestyle habits into their life. Drum circles at night. It was all such an amazing experience. And taking away, for me, is how to bring this community into my as close to daily life as possible. And for me, it's about just inviting people I met to events that I'm either doing with my business or events that I'm going to other businesses and supporting them and trying to just connect to the community on maybe a weekly basis or a monthly basis, whatever it ends up being. But it all stemmed from meeting that Cacao Tribe community at the event, and I'm really grateful for that.
Oh, you actually participated throughout the weekend by simply being present. You're a dynamic person. What would you see as a vision for the future?
The vision for the future, I think, is teaching other people how to hold Touch Mother Earth events for their own communities. And like you said, Touch Mother Earth is a concept, not a place. So if you can teach other people how to go about running this kind of event, then there's no limit to the impact Touch Mother Earth can have in any community.
That's wonderful.
I like that.
Dave?
Yes.
I think that to get more participation, you might actually think about doing some type of a Skype connection and have like a Skype connection at your festival so that people can call in from wherever they are in the world and maybe share that talking stick ceremony or share a meal from one of the weekends at a Touch Mother Earth event. And then what that leads people into is if you're connecting with people around the globe, regardless of what time it is, they get up at that time and they're sharing a meal with you guys, then you can center on their time and have everybody globally connect with them, and it can be like their Touch Mother Earth event in, say, the Philippines or in Thailand. They can have their sharing the meal, or they have the main talking stick or something like that. That's how you
so
could
it could be an ongoing talking stick.
So basically, you could have a much more frequent and building community. And I don't know how to start it. Whether you have, right now what I'm looking at is you could have like the fall equinox.
Sure.
Or you could have something at Christmas where you just start the Skype thing building, and then you could have something at one of the meals or one of the ceremonies. Probably better to have it at one of the ceremonies at Mount Eden next year.
They are all beautiful ideas, and I want to share something with you, Alan. With Jenny Raven's Treehouse now going to Mount Eden, she's planning to fill that place for the next 6 months with people who will be going over projects, ideas, renovations, etc. We're going to be talking to you about your food source from Philly.
Right.
And this might be a good time to mention it in short, what you actually do.
So basically, when I was discovering that I wanted to eat a lot more whole produce and then shopping at Whole Foods, I discovered that was an impossible economic equation. It just costs too doggone much. So what I found when I asked some friends, is that Philadelphia is a port, and it has lots and lots of wholesale produce, and cases of produce that are organic don't cost nearly as much when you buy them in bulk. and especially when you buy them at discounts. Hello, 646. You dropped out again, so if you want to come back, please come back and I'll get you on the air again. So what I do is I live 7 minutes crossing the Walt Whitman Bridge. I live 7 minutes in my present location from Philadelphia's organic wholesaler, and I buy, let's take, for instance, sweet potatoes. So sweet potatoes, you go to Whole Foods, it's $3 a pound. They come in 40-pound boxes, so that's $120 per box. I can buy those sweet potatoes every day of the week for $36 a box, which is basically, it's a factor of 3 difference in price. But because of the, we have a conveyor belt here. The produce needs to get off the conveyor belt. It becomes a storage problem. What they do at the end of the storage life is they basically send it over to another Philadelphia Regional Produce Center, and it gets sold for really cheap. What I mean by really cheap is that same box of sweet potatoes that cost $120 will now cost $5. So basically, instead of it costing $3 a pound, it's in some instances what the heck is this?
Is somebody using a machine to blend something?
I'm not sure. I keep on putting people on hold, and it doesn't seem to go away.
Yeah,
You what? Yep.
It's good if
so
all the
basically,
participants, you're not talking, mute yourself.
So that's what I do.
So Alan basically has this ability.
I have a small business where I buy produce for folks in the local area. And I've been doing it in this present location for the last 2 years, and overall I've been buying from the market for 8 years. So that's what I do. I have a source for low-cost organic produce.
So each of you, mind you out there in the radio world and also those of you online, you could, if you know anybody who's coming up from that area, whether it be once a week, imagine putting together your own pool of people that are willing to commit to a certain number of dollars a week or whatever. They can actually get healthy, organic food at lower cost than you can buy from the store in bulk. And it's wonderful.
Here's the thing. The thing is that you might think that you have to buy in bulk. But you don't have to buy in bulk because I've put together the 150 or so people that I need to buy in bulk. So each of my customers only buys what they want. But it's usually 10 apples and 5 oranges and a watermelon and a couple of other items. And when I match that up with, another 100 people buying what they want, I get a bulk order.
Beautiful. Do you actually send out? You don't know until you get there what the discount is.
Well, so basically, my email is ritter.alan88@gmail.com, and I send out 2 price lists each week. And you can order from me, or you can just have a conversation with me about what's available.
That's great. So, Alan, you've been very great at promoting me and other artists and things. You are helping us co-create this community, and I really want to give a shout-out to you. Thank you for having a podcast that gets recorded and turned into YouTube, and then share it so that other people are out there. Now, who else out there would like to share something about either this past weekend or the Touch Mother Earth of June? How do you see us growing?
Well, I can share what Ellen just said. I mean, that's amazing to be able to do the Skyping at a global level. I think that's fantastic, Dave, because it will send your message about Touch Mother Earth like all over. And from what Chris was saying on the phone too, you know, it's a way for people to be able to just take that sentiment that you've created and move it on to throughout the whole world. You know, I mean, that's amazing.
What I would say is sort of just had a little thing in my head come on. You don't want to start that as your first one next June. What you want to do is you want to have overcome all the A, technical problems, and B, it just takes time for people to sign on for that and get going with that. So you actually want to start it with your events. Like I know you have events at all these different drum circles. If you could just start having
healing
Skype,
in New Brunswick and
right.
Center in Highland Park.
Exactly. Basically, if you say, hey, once a week, we're going to put a camera over in the corner, and we're just going to have an open Skype channel for whoever wants to sign on and share our energy. And you start growing your audience. And it's basically going to be, you know, it's all the time it's the same. It's Touch Mother Earth. And then you say what we're looking toward is next year when we actually start doing our festivals, we're going to have one or two of our events is going to be shared on the Touch Mother Earth Skype line.
So I actually have an idea about how to make that happen in addition to what you're talking about in a more organic way, where if you connect to community leaders, let's say right here in Jersey, other community leaders, or in Philly and New York, and they're interested in having an event like this, but they don't want to start from scratch, before you get all the details kinked out, invite them. So you have a list of 5 other community leaders who are interested in bringing this to their unique community, and it would be beneficial for them to watch you work the kinks out and to be able to see what the thought process is like to overcome whatever adversity. And then on a formal level, you see, okay, so this is how the structure of the event is. This is timing. This is allotting time enough, not a lot of free time for people because they need to be able to breathe. This is not over scheduling events. This is how we, you know, maybe the program starts while the marketing is happening a month before the event so they can see when to post, like all that kind of stuff. It's really like a nice step-by-step thing, and it's a little more organic where, yes, let's have this video chat. So it's like your board of elders essentially talking about how the different events are going in their area. But I think a part of the magic with Touch Mother Earth is that it's organic. You know, it's face-to-face, hand-to-hand. You can't have that group hug if you're, you know, on Skype. You can't have the group hug there. So I think both should happen. And the online community should be more, okay, let's all talk about the individual organic experiences that we had within our own communities once that's been put into place. And now we can talk about how to make things smoother, how to maybe have 2 communities meet, or, you know, let's diversify the culture now, and all that kind of stuff.
It's a great idea.
Do you want to share where you're coming from so people understand why you're saying that? Because that's a really good set of thoughts. Do you want to introduce yourself, like your participation level?
Yeah, my participation level, so it's as a vendor. My business is called Subtle Healing. I use sound healing for stress management and Ayurvedic nutrition counseling. So I've gotten to see quite a bit of the activity of these wellness entrepreneurs, not only in Monmouth County, but throughout New Jersey at this point. And there is so much going on, and now seeing all these individual efforts coming together as a community to learn from each other and to benefit from each other's services and to market. It's not only this communal thing, but it's a part of this shift to a different kind of economy, and where I said this during the stick sharing talk, where the boardroom is not going to be isolated in some stagnant building. It's going to be under the tree like Jenny was doing. You know, it's a whole shift that's happening right in front of our eyes. And when you see it happening in front of your eyes and you're a part of the change, whether it's through your own business or you're still figuring out how you want to play your part and you're just there to support, where you're there as someone being healed, because we all still need to be healed. It's, you know, give and take. You heal as you give the healing. But when you see that in person, and it's motivating, it's exciting. It's not just something that you read on one of these wellness blogs online that sounds awesome, but still very removed from you. It's something that's real right in front of your face, and you can't really deny it. And the level of enthusiasm that the people at these events have to share their friendship and to share their love and services, it's moving. And even if you're a little awkward coming into it, you know, if you're awkward coming into it, your ice will crack. So it's just a nice environment.
Can I add something?
Please.
Okay. I just want to put out there before you do, because it's a really short thing I'm going to say. I was sitting next to this woman, older woman, and for me to say older, she was older, and she said I had more fun and love and enlightenment and peace that I haven't had experienced in a long time in just 4 hours. She was only there for 4 hours.
Oh.
And so it's not only you're turning around the world. It's not just the young and those in the know. It's just people responding to being seen and
the love,
feeling
and
the
Dave's
love.
beautiful work and effort, because he certainly puts a lot of effort into that.
Yeah, and this is actually perfect leads to what I was going to share. This is Irina. So
the amazing thing, ladies and guys, is I empower people. I find people that I know. I'm not going to use the mover and shaker term. I'm going to talk about people who really resonate, and the resonation is exactly what you just said. Somebody shows up, and in 4 hours, they've been bathed in love, they've been bathed in energy, they've been bathed in some kind of healing. Something resonated and something shifted for them. Now, hopefully, they're going to go out and try to continue that, whether it be go to a yoga workshop or a sound healing bath or a drumming circle or start buying organic food. You never know. You never know how you touch somebody. And every time I get that kind of feedback, that's what makes me want to continue doing this. What else can I say? That is awesome.
Yes.
We're at
you
a
guys
turning
hear me?
point.
Hello?
Sure, go ahead.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes. This is Irina.
Oh, okay, great. Yes. So
So you offered a workshop. What happened at your workshop?
What happened to my workshop? Well, I didn't know what to expect, but I think people liked it. It was a pleasure to teach that workshop, and I think we had some quite deep experiences there based on the feedback that I received from people. They were actually shocked that this type of workshop is being offered at this event. But what I wanted to say is this. So the real change, I'm going to talk globally about what's happening and how this event is in alignment with the global changes. So we all know that we're all in the mutation state, that human beings are mutating. We're moving more to different type of awareness. In human design, we call it solar plexus awareness, where the impact is the focus is on the individual mutation, individual change, self-empowerment. So this event allows people not only heal, but empower themselves and not be victims, not be dependent on the corporations and on the government, but really learn about self-empowerment. And when we learn how to empower individuals, like this person in front of you, not a bunch of people, not the group of a tribe, not community, but one person at the time, that is going to create the bigger impact, because the communities change through individuals. So that individual experience that we had there, and I've seen amazing transformations there at the event, that's what's going to make a difference and grow the community. You know, social media is great, all that stuff, but listen, social media is still a control, right? So they're still controlling their algorithms. We're still dependent on them. But this personal connection between people, nothing can break that. So what I'm seeing in the future is about deepening the experience, about making the same event, but make it better, and allowing people to express what is it that they want and just give it to them. And that's simple as that is. It's just, you know, having
and
maybe
Dave
surveying people and ask them what they like and give more of that. That's it. I mean, it's really simple.
Dave is so good at that, because he'll say, what did you like, what didn't you like? Okay, next time we're going to have that. And if people say they love this vendor, Dave will go out of his way to find that vendor or to find that teacher. And I have to say, honestly, when I saw you loving it, it reminded me of my first experience at Touch Mother Earth back in June, where I saw how excited you were getting and how into it you were joining things and you couldn't get enough of it. And I just felt like the light radiating from you from the event. It reminded me of how I felt in June when I went to the first event with Dave. And I feel so blessed that I found Dave, because it certainly has brought out something in me that I needed, and I am just so in love with the community he's created.
Yeah. And the word that I'm thinking about is initiation. Initiation
I like that.
Into what we're meant to be. We're meant to have this type of community. We just forgot. You know, we have been brainwashed for so long that people forgot how to connect, like human touch, you know, dance and simple music and all that. So this event is a great example how we can bring that back into humanity, into everybody's life, and especially our children.
Well,
our new generation needs to come out of that electronic age where they are spending so much time on social media and create new connections, real connections.
Irina, you bring up a good point, and I'm going to straddle both sides of this right now. One of the things, and Joe will confer with this, hugging and connecting and like human touch has gotten so far away. You know, that whole saying that you need 4 hugs a day and all. What if, you know, your mom's not there?
No, you need
what if
25.
And Joe, may I just say, Dave, isn't Joe a fantastic energy to have around? I mean, he's just a light, isn't he?
Thank you.
Who doesn't
but
love
I
Joe?
also have to be respectful, since Me Too, that there are people who don't necessarily want to be hugged. And a friend of mine, Cheryl, suggested that before you hug somebody, you ask them, are you a hugger or a shaker? And I'm like, how cool is that? Then they have the option of saying, no, I prefer to shake your hand, because you don't want to traumatize somebody. But at the same time, that body contact, if you're ready for it, really
wonderful.
connects us
Yeah.
together. And the same thing would be if we're all holding hands in a circle and we're gathering together and apart and together and apart. That contact, even just holding somebody's hand, it's scary for some people. That may be their first exposure at a group event where 25 people are at a circle holding a hand and doing some event.
Yeah.
And we want it to be positive. We want them to know that they're safe. We want them to know that they're trusted and loved. And having a group of us that have done this for enough time together, sharing that in safety is very important. And I've seen it with others. Marcie, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Marcie, what is your take? Because you've seen a number of these events. You know I'm a hugger. How do we make sure that somebody is safe?
I find that you approach people as you will, and they will show you, that they'll be stiff. They don't want your hug, so you don't. So you just kind of touch them, but not
that makes sense.
more. Because I'm a hugger, and I have people that will squeeze you to death, and then there's others, and then there's others that barely, and then there's ones. We have a mutual friend. He doesn't want to be touched. Period. And I respect that. And as a healer, that's why I know how to heal without touching. If they are agreeing to that, but people will give you signals, and you gotta be mindful of the signals that they look scared to death when you touch them. Back away a little bit.
Well, I could tell you when I went to the first festival, I wasn't so into. I was a little nervous about hugging everybody, and I actually was looking forward to it this time. Like, I couldn't wait to hug everybody because it actually warmed me up to the idea of hugging because it seemed so genuine and so loving and so just caring, like a good, caring, loving hug, that I actually was looking forward to the hugs at this second event.
So
and that's
something opened up, but your heart chakra.
People aren't used to hugging, so you have to, bring it in gradually. So give a half hug or something.
Have a disclaimer form.
Yes.
Give in like a pull-in handshake and kind of pull it in.
Touch Mother Earth in June. I had a woman, who was following me on Facebook and came to see me, but then was like, "Okay, you want a hug? No. You wanna nothing? No. We just came and we saw and thank you, and we're on our way." So that brought them there, but they weren't really ready to participate.
We have to respect
you don't have
that.
to.
We don't know what's going on in their others' personal life.
But you know what I noticed?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. I just think you have to be flexible and take your cue from that person. I went to hug her, but I knew I shouldn't.
Well.
So what?
What if they're not capable of vocalizing it? Because I did get some feedback from our event that some people weren't used to seeing hugging and all, and they just weren't quite there. How does one, and this is where Cheryl said, ask them, are you a shaker or a hugger? If you just ask if he can give you a hug, you could be offending them. They go, well, I don't know if I'm ready for a hug. But if you ask them if they're a hugger or
well,
shaker,
you don't.
the
you
shaker
don't
gives
ask
them
them.
an option.
Some people
You don't
don't like to
ask them.
shake. Some people don't like to shake your hand.
Right.
I don't know if there's a I think it's just being mindful of and respecting their space. If they're showing you they need space, then you know not to. They may warm up later. Because once you
True.
see everybody hugging, it becomes kind of contagious, I think.
Yes, that's true. That's very true.
Yeah,
You can
that's
always
so
say
true.
during the open ceremony, if you don't want to hug and someone goes to hug you, just say, "Oh, I'm not a hugger," and make it lighthearted like
Right.
that. And then it's just
Right.
simple. "Oh, I'm not a hugger," so that people don't have to feel uncomfortable saying, "I don't want you to hug me," or whatever it is. You could just say,
Yes.
opening ceremony.
Yes.
We love to hug. That's why there's signs all over that say free
beautiful
hug.
about
If you don't
this
want to, just tell people I don't want to hug.
Yeah.
In this last opening ceremony, one of the things that was beautiful was that
It's our big
hugging
giant
and
hug.
moving- Well, no. But what Coco Pelli did was he had us exchange arms to hugs around and let that whole
Right.
left to right, right to left. There was a lot of treasure to be seen there because it was totally safe. Everybody was doing it in circle, and it was a way of bonding in a safe
And
manner.
it ended in a big giant hug.
And it was also like a dance. So,
Right.
people are accustomed to doing funky dances like that,
It's true. It was actually probably I don't like to rate things to say it was the nicest, but all the warming ceremonies that we've had at Touch Mother Earth, it definitely brought people together the strongest. That I can say. There was something so beautiful about that. And then when those
and he made you
flyers were flying over us.
He made you rotate so you weren't with people that you hung out with. So you met new people.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes, and it was a joyous it was a joyous sort of like a hey you were just passing through. You had maybe 0.2 seconds, whatever, you had like 3 seconds with each person before you went to the next person. It was just a round robin of joy.
Yeah.
What a great way to start a weekend.
Yeah, he did a great opening ceremony. That was wonderful.
So, Touch Mother Earth has a lot of different values. And one of them is we try to have food that's safe. We try to have workshops that are safe. We try to have events that are safe or eye-opening. And, is there any suggestions any of you could make for as we look into the spring or the winter, spring? Well, because we're going to go indoors. We're not going to have the access to the fields, the farms, and all that. But we can go to Garden Healing. We can go to Soma Center. We can go to other events. We can go to Neolit. Some of them are drumming related, but how do we continue the vibe over the winter?
It's a good thing to think about, but it would be wonderful to do stuff over the fall and winter. I mean, winter, I love being outdoors in the summer. Winter gets a little depressing. It would be fabulous to do something during that time.
Guys, who else
Food
is
for
out
thought.
there? Give us some thought.
Well, you know me. I'm always interested in things that are connecting us to our energy, to healing, to learning about spirituality, not religion. I'm not putting religion down. I'm just saying spirituality has no religion in that it accepts all religions. And so that people are comfortable with people that are not the same.
Beautiful.
They have a different religion. They're pagan, they're Christian, they're Jewish, they're
Buddhist.
Catholic, they're Buddhist, they're whatever is motivating you. Because even in all of these, there's a theme that goes through that is the essential part of spirituality.
I agree.
Let me do some brainstorming and research.
My events are non-denominational. I don't worry about what your background is. You're all accepted because we all have something to contribute.
Right. And we all, if we really listened, we'd all find out we're really saying the same thing. We're just, maybe we put a different name on it or a different tag or, things that aren't as really important. I mean, when we're out of this world, there will be no debate because, things of this world may not exist in the astral plane. Who knows?
Food for thought, good things to think about what we could do for winter. I'm excited to come up with some new things and see what we could brainstorm.
Well, one of the nice things
Let's
about
go sleigh ride
winter,
and make a
go ahead,
snowman.
Joe.
Let's do some like winter stuff outside.
Mm-hmm. That's a good idea.
We can get like log cabins, together, and then go out. And
oh yeah, that's a great idea.
Go
Look
skiing
at that, we're brainstorming already,
spend
Dave.
time together.
And you know what?
Go
touch Mother Earth in the winter is fair game.
A nice idea might be the Pocono Environmental Education Center in PA. Peak has a really beautiful, they have cabins there, they have outdoor activities, they have a meal hall. That might be a nice venue for a winter touch Mother Earth. It's called Pocono Environmental Education Center.
Where exactly is this? This sounds good.
I'm not sure exactly. It's in the Poconos. Yeah, it's in the Poconos. It's called Peak. It's also known as Peak, P-E-E-C.
Okay. Now,
that sounds great.
Also, I want to introduce you guys that my friend Olga Scher does reclamation of the Earth waves, which will happen in November in Emmaus, PA. It is a rudimentary house. It's a beautiful, beautiful place on 12 acres. The heat is only from the fireplace. You can camp out. When we do stuff like that, we're cooking on a 20-inch stove with the oldest burners. It's like a stove from like 80 years ago.
It's a propane stove.
We make it work. That's the beauty. We have to remember, Touch Mother Earth should also include not forgetting our Earth-based ways of how we've gotten here. We're so spoiled with our conveniences, and yet we don't even know how to light a fire or repair this or whatever. We've gotten confused by modern-day conveniences, and we could call camping whatever you want to call camping. Camping could simply be walking away from your daily chores and conveniences. You camp out in your backyard. But when you go somewhere else where you don't have cell service, you don't have electricity to charge this, you have to find your firewood, we have forgotten some of the basics that make it possible. And I think one of the goals of Touch Mother Earth is going to change next year. I would like to make people more participatory. Hear me out. More
in survival
participatory,
techniques?
where you guys have to find the firewood. If you want to have a fire circle, make the firewood happen. Because we did it 2 years ago at Touch Mother, where we had everybody chop their own wood. It would be cool to go back to that. It doesn't mean that you chop wood because you're good or you're bad at chopping wood. The next person might be helping in the kitchen. The other person might be helping direct where people go, or collecting the money at the gate, or whatever. I would like to see our community efforts step up even more, because we are right there. We are right there. I mean, think about how we've lived, our grandparents lived. My grandparents on my one side had chickens in their backyard, and my dad told me, about taking care of them. That my other side had a little money, university, but between the two of them, I got both in my balance. I love to garden. I just harvested 28 tomatoes today that are all yellow with a hint of red. I was like, wow. Late in the season, but way cool. I've got to have a garden every year, even if it's small, even if it's containers. I have to have a garden. I have to touch Mother Earth. And
he means that literally.
Well, I do. I want to smell the tomatoes. That when you touch tomato plant, that smell you can. And Kellie is willing to take us all into a fall walk. There you go. There's Touch Mother Earth in the fall.
Yeah, that would be
it's probably
good.
going to be around the Mel Creek. Probably going to be around Mel Creek. He would like to see us all understand. Now, one of the beauties that happened at our event this last week was a surprise. Dandelion, who has been at several events, asked if he could come and join because Jim Fury was doing the plant walk. And I thought, why not? They know each other. They're comfortable. So they co-directed a walk around the woods, the whole land, and two excellent professors of knowledge sharing what they could do, no contention. Literally, it was like having Encyclopedia Britannica on one side and on the other. I got great
handbook
feedback.
guide to trees and vegetation.
I'm sorry, repeat the question.
I said a handbook guide to trees and vegetation.
Oh, there you go. Right. So the two of them were a tag team, which I think is great. One of the things, if you guys remember Miracle on 34th Street, where Santa Claus recommended gimbals, and the owner of Macy's was like, what? Well, there is no competition. There is only knowledge. And you choose if you want to make a competition. Having two great herbalists, alchemists, able to make tinctures and teach us, that is community. That is the goal of Touch Mother Earth, is bringing people together and sharing in harmony and allowing us to each see that we have something to offer. We really do. Wonderful.
Yeah. They were both extremely knowledgeable. It was fantastic, and they didn't compete with each other at all. One would speak, the other one would be quiet. They encouraged each other to speak. They were fantastic together.
You got to take that workshop. I'm jealous.
Yeah, I did. I loved it. And I didn't even know I had a plant in front of my house that I could eat.
Did you have a good meal?
Dave, going back to what you said before about the participation moving forward, I think that's a great idea because not only is it another way for people to partake in things together, but it inspires independence, and you're taking skills back home now. Now that I've chopped wood at Mother Earth, I know how to do it when I'm, back at home in my own fire pit. Or maybe I don't have a fire pit yet, but now I'm going to get one. I think that's a really good thing.
Mm.
Yeah, that is.
What was your biggest takeaway, Neil? What was your biggest takeaway? Because you've been now to both our events and Permajam. Yes, Chris. Sorry. Actually, weren't you at all three?
So my biggest takeaway, I would say observing how many indigenous, I don't know if that's the right term to use, but how many indigenous people seem to come to these events. It's really nice. It's a nice way to connect to, people talk about a lot how a part of our shift, making amends with the past and all that kind of stuff. Talking to people who are still a part of the culture that is, still hurting from the actions of the past and having a place to come, some kind of common ground, that's really awesome. And something I noticed at both Permajam and Touch Mother Earth was that presence was there. And I want to learn more from them. I'm not even talking about culturally, just about them and what kind of lives do you lead now? What's your modern day life like? And it's just building bonds and building bridges with them.
Well, I know
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, I know my experience was amazing because he came to see me. I knew, and I needed to hear what he had to say to me, and so Spirit moves in the mysterious ways.
When I went up to Permajam, I think that was my first strongest connection to meeting the native elders. And, in some cases they came from the Four Corners, or the first year Lyle June was there. I didn't even know who she was, and I wish I had because she is such an activist promoting all the tribes. She's not selective. She's like, you guys got to get out there and let yourselves be known. We have forgotten that we cordoned off these people. We put them into little areas and said, you go live there. And then when we found there were mineral rights, we said, oh, you got to move again because we're going to take away your land because we're going to extract oil or whatever. And the whole thing that we had 2 years ago where we had to stand off at Standing Rock, that opened up my mind. That had a lot of influence in me wanting to put together Touch Mother Earth. It wasn't
just the
fair.
name of that, just the name, Touch Mother Earth. Take your shoes and socks off and get down and just feel the energy of the earth. That's what the indigenous people did. They were on the earth. They got that energy of it. You know what I mean? They just felt it. And so that's what you feel like when you're there. That's what I feel sometimes. I can feel Indian tribes because I'm so connected with the earth. Do
you feel the indigenous people that lived there several hundred years prior?
Yeah.
beautiful.
At the Permajam
Just by
Festival,
taking
that
my shoes
land,
and
you
socks
could
off and
feel
sitting
the energy on that land. That was amazing. I
Oh,
only
the
went for one
Taino-
day,
the
and I was
Taino
totally
energy.
taken by it. Mhm.
It's definitely
Well,
there.
you know that Mount Eden is sacred Indian land, native. Forget the Indian part. Native land, and yeah, I can't even speak about it. Okay, go ahead.
Well, no. Marcie, you explained it. When you walked that land, you found what was some cigar, and even though it was a current cigar, it tapped you in. It tapped you into the indigenous people that lived there, and you told us that there was a trading post up in the corner, and you even saw where some of the Indians were slaughtered.
Oh, well, what happened was Jen took me Mount Eden used to give out 3 plots of land for the farmers to farm at, so to maintain their farm status, which is a tax break. And I never went past the lots, the farmed lots, and I never really thought about it. I couldn't get past them, and they had no energy. You know, I was always by where everybody knows where all the buildings are, and that is a very profound energy there. But I never got past that, and Jenny took me to the farmland that was overgrown already, because they've closed. They closed Mount Eden at that point, and I found a blown out cigar. When I went to pick it up, I saw in my head it was like, this is sage, and I picked it up, and Jenny said, okay, we'll use the tobacco, because tobacco is sacred to the natives, and it's very used in all ceremony. And then we walked past where I never walked before. And as we got closer to the end of the lot, I could hear the powwow. I could see them having a powwow up there at the top of the mountain. That point is the top of the mountain, and we got up there, and then I saw the massacre. And this is the Napi land, and this is White Buffalo Woman tribe that unified the nations so that there was peace among the tribes. And then we kept walking, and we took a path that didn't seem to go anywhere, but we took it, and we came upon this area that had everybody doesn't know what a lot of Mount Eden had stone fences. Well, you know, and a lot of it was done by the farmers, but I think these were definitely done by the natives, and they were like little booths.
Oh, I didn't know that. Whoa.
They're built like little booths, you know, and I could hear and see the commerce, and this is where the tribes would come and trade their goods with each other. So this was commerce there. So
How many would you guess that's 400 years ago, or 500 years ago, or 300 years ago?
I'm guessing. I'm amazed that because farmers took over the land at some point, that nobody disturbed that section at all. To my knowledge, because I wouldn't think that farmers would have kept it like that. They might, because you couldn't farm in it. I don't think you could keep your, if you had cattle or livestock. I don't think you could keep your livestock in it, because it was just like enough for a booth. Is basically, somebody set up their booth and had and vended their goods to each other.
So the trails that run through Mount Eden have some authenticity to the original trails.
I don't know. I mean, this trail that we took didn't lead anywhere. I mean, there were, well, at least now there's, I don't know if it led somewhere once, but at least now it didn't lead anywhere. We had to go back the way we came. We didn't just keep going to come around a different way. This particular trail
it is one of the original high points of the mountain. I know there are several high points of the mountain. So It makes sense that would be a connecting point from the indigenous Indians. And that's one of the things that
you would have
touching Mother Earth, we need to honor those who have come before us. We don't have a right to take over this land. We don't have a right to make it something that's ours selfishly, without understanding what came before it. We really don't.
That's right.
Because we're only guardians of keeping the future, but we need to authenticate the past. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Kellie.
You're 100% right. I believe exactly what you're saying. You're right. We have no right to say this is ours and we're going to do with it what we want. We have a right to keep the traditions and keep the traditions for the future. And I totally agree with what you're saying, how they keep taking the land away and saying, oh, well, now we're taking it back because there's profit in there and we don't want you to have it. We want to have it. And I have always felt like there's nobody fighting for these people saying, hey, legally, we own this property now. We're going to make a profit on it, not you. We're going to help our people progress and everything else and move on from that.
The natives would tell you that we don't own, that they don't own the land.
Nobody owns the land.
Nobody owns the land. They honor the land.
The king made a deed, and the landlords of the feudal.
They keep it secure. They watch over it.
And they do all this at the sacrifice of themselves.
Yes.
Right.
Well, one of the things that I appreciate that Jenny, as in Raven Treehouse, is looking at in overseeing Mount Eden, I believe she's secured it for a year, is in her ultimate goal, a certain percentage has to go immediately back to whatever tribes used to live on that land. Now, if she's true to that, that makes sense. Although I've seen other people like Jamie Rickey are considering giving their entire land back to the original Indians, saying, I am so sorry. 600 acres that were, pillaged. And touch Mother Earth, we're going to see a lot of different things. Is ownership really necessary? I mean, we live in a feudal system based on a king where you have to have a deed and then you own it for whatever point that you sell it. That was definitely never Native American. And we took all this land over, at least if we can give a portion back, it's a good start. It's not perfect, but it's a good start.
Agreed.
Hey, Dave? Dave?
Yes.
Could you wrap up?
I'm sorry, repeat the question?
Could you wrap up, Dave?
Okay.
We're getting
like
toward the end.
Everybody is so excited. We've been going on. You're right. We went way beyond our 1 hour. Anybody wants to do a quick conclusion? I'm comfortable with all we've done. We've covered way more material, and that's beautiful. Say goodbye in whatever fashion you want.
Goodbye, Dave.
Good
Love
night,
you.
everyone.
Love all of you guys.
Good night, everybody. Love you.
Love you, Joe. Bye.
Bye.
We will do another discussion about protecting the earth. Alan, thank you so much for hosting us and allowing us to go deeper into the tribe.
All right. Good night, everyone. Have a great week.
Peace. Peace out.
Thanks for listening to the Spiritual Unity Radio Network. Join us 7 nights a week for exciting programming covering a variety of expressions of faith. And remember, all manifestations of the divine are equally valid.
Choosing an energy company raises many questions. Constellation can answer all of them with energy solutions that fit your needs. Energy made efficient, simple, insightful, and flexible. That's what makes Constellation America's energy choice. Learn more at constellation.com/energy.